Hello, and welcome to another episode of Leader Generation, brought to you by ModUp. I'm your host, Tessa Burg. Today, I am joined by the CEO of Digital Remedy, Martin Kristiseter. Digital Remedy is a company that is reimagining performance marketing, and we're going to be diving into AI's impact on performance marketing and marketing overall, as well as the importance of client transparency as AI becomes more ubiquitous in all of the platforms and technology that we use. Martin, thanks so much for joining us today. Very excited about this conversation.
So thanks for having me, and I'm really impressed that you nailed my last name. It's always a tough one.
Yeah, it was tough, and I really clammed up right before I said it, so I'm glad that it came out well because uh yes. So I know that you mentioned before we got on the call that you're Norwegian. To start, tell us a little bit more about your background and your journey to becoming CEO at Digital Remedy.
So Martin Kristiseter, CEO here at Digital Remedy. We are, as you mentioned, a performance advertising platform and managed service partner. We primarily focus on brands, independent agencies, and media companies. We're one of the larger performance or outcome-based platforms out there. We are doing deep in the nine kind of figures of revenue, and we're servicing some of the larger brands in the business. My background, I'm fairly new to Digital Remedy. I invested, or we invested in this business through a different company about 3 years ago, and I got to join the board and watch the executive team here at Digital Remedy continue to execute. And then we acquired the remainder of the company back in March and folded in Compulse, which is a marketing technology managed services company that was owned by Sinclair Broadcast Group, into the whole thing. So super bullish about Digital Remedy because being on the board, I saw a clear opportunity to lead the company, and they were already out there basically helping the brands navigate a fairly complex media landscape and take it to the next level by combining. I think they have over 20 years now of performance marketing expertise with also AI-driven innovation. So today I get to lead a team that's hyper focused on helping marketers get more clarity and efficiency and also results for every single media dollar that they spend with us. When it comes to my kind of my background, it's not my first rodeo. Being at a digital marketing company. I've been over the last 20 years at the intersection of marketing technology and programmatic, primarily building and founding venture-backed as well as private equity-backed, and now public company-backed companies, primarily focused, like I mentioned earlier, on indie agencies and media companies and brands. And yeah, getting from Norway to the US was a complete accident. I took a gap year right after my first 2 years of college in Norway. So Norway was like when I was young, and I'm going to give away my age here, but when I was young, you had to go to the military. So I did that for a year, got that out of the way, went straight to business school, did 2 years of business school, and I was so sick of it. And I was like, yeah, look, I'm going to take a year off. So me and my buddy, we saved up some money and we traveled to the US to go skiing and surfing for a winter.
Oh my,
And we had the best time. And I came back to my home college and I go, look, I had the most fun on this gap year. And I wonder if we have a exchange program with any universities, with business schools in the US close to skiing. And we had two. One was in University of British Columbia, and the other one was University of Colorado. And I ended up in University of Colorado, and here I am 24 years later.
yeah, it's funny you ended up in Colorado because I have quite a few friends from my hometown that went to the University of Colorado and they have never come back. It is skiing that keeps them there, but we get to benefit from that because now we visit them on an annual basis and get to ski up at Winter Park as well. Uh,
Yeah, I think, I'm a big winner, obviously big skier. When you grow up in Norway, you don't really have a choice. You get tossed on those skis early on. But the summers in Colorado and the mountains are equally as good as the winters. So make sure you come out for the summer as well.
oh yeah. No, that's a great idea. That landscape is just gorgeous, so I can only imagine when it's in full bloom. Well, let's get back to performance marketing. So there, you bought the company 3 years ago. You saw a clear opportunity, but in the last 3 years, there have been a lot of changes, economic pressures, increased competition. There's definitely a lot of fragmentation in this space as far as data and how it gets delivered. In this constrained market, marketers are being asked to still show return and outcomes for their budgets. How are you helping them navigate media budgets in an environment that's even in some ways even more constrained than in the past?
Yeah, so look, when we invested, this is close to 3 years ago. The founding team with Mike Seaman and Dave Sapital, Mike Uhas, that's still on the team, had built a very like a wonderful company, super successful, but a typical founder-led company where they were chasing dollars around, but they started to build a really meaningful performance CTV side. And about 3 years ago, performance on CTV was definitely some novelty there, and they were able to basically look at serving ads that now have the greater reach than linear and cable combined, right? So CTV currently has more consumption. I think as of last month, I think it just surpassed, I think it's like 55% or something over cable and linear. And being able to combine that with the targetability and the measurement of digital, right? So these guys were super early to not only apply their algorithms and their models, but also do that in a way where you can start showcasing performance on, hey, this ad was trying to drive a following outcome. We served it on Netflix, on Hulu, on Peacock, you name it. And they were able to showcase, which publisher that you're watching on TV truly drove a specific outcome for those advertisers. And not only just the outcome, like if that was to get a football or a website visit or a form fill or a purchase, or that can be offline, it can be an online purchase. They were able to show that entire measurement in their platform, which is, 3 years ago, very novel, but still today, I feel like they got a significant advantage over the competition. But if you look at what's going on in not just digital, but advertising as a whole, there has been a real shift, right? And probably even more so now with tariffs and some of the uncertainty that's been coming down, where things are going from kind of flashy to more function, right? So every media dollar that gets spent really needs to prove that it's worth what we spent it on, and it needs to prove it really fast. So that means that brands, agencies, they're looking for partners that can deliver, real outcome-based performance, and not just, pretty dashboards and all that jazz, but actually truly show that the dollar you invested actually, gave me a return on that investment. So yeah, we're definitely benefiting from some of the shift going from brand to performance, especially since the tariffs went into place, because people started being uncertain and they started to squeeze every dollar. But over the last, 3+ years, it's been an exponential growth of CTV spend, but also what we benefit from here at Digital Remedy, where people really want to prove that the TV dollar works. And if you think about linear TV dollars, and linear works great, but it's really hard to prove, what spot drove what, or the ads you served on Fox News versus CNN versus your local Sinclair station, which one of those really drove the outcome is a very tough one to prove in linear, and we're able to do that with CTV.
And another big factor, I feel like we talk about this all the time on the show, but how can you get around it, is AI. What factor has AI played in the performance marketing landscape, especially as it relates to some of that efficiency and measurement?
Yeah, so AI is everywhere. I would say that it's integrated into just about everything we do, or about to be integrated into everything we do, both on the platform side and the operation side. If you think about automation, that's a big one for us, where AI and machine learning in general can really automate these repetitive and time-consuming tasks that companies like us deal with. And a good example of that is 3 years ago, we probably had over 50 folks in the US that were making, call it 80 grand or more, that was rekeying in to the fulfillment platform, whether it's our DSP or search or social, what have you, basically just purely rekeying in the information in the IO into the fulfillment platform. So if that's 50 folks, call it $4+ million a year. We then shifted a lot of those folks offshore. So we acquired a company that had a fairly large presence in India. And 80 grand goes to 8 grand a year. So that's pretty significant savings, right? Still 50 people, still a lot of manual rekeying, but now you went from 4 million to 400,000. So pretty substantial savings that we can take out of the model. However, since then, if you look at the model, or if you look at the platform today, basically the end customer can now enter in the orders into our platform. They can do a media plan in the platform using AI or manually do it. That can automatically get pushed into an order management system. It goes live within the fulfillment platforms across all channels, not just programmatic or CTV. And we not only eliminate a lot of roles and costs, but what you really eliminate is a lot of errors. The make goods alone probably cost us deep into 7 figures, and also the turnaround time. So instead of waiting 2 to 3 business days, maybe for a campaign to go live, it can go live within minutes, right? We still have a QA process. Somebody looks at it, make sure it has the tags right, or we're not missing any specific fields, but we've been able to really automate that workflow, which has provided substantial savings, not just to us, but also to the customers, because we can push it down to our customers. I think when it comes to other pieces of the business, decision making, obviously, I mentioned earlier on that the company has 20+ experience being in performance. So there's just a lot of experience. There's a lot of past results. There's a lot of data that sits readily available in a data lake now, right? So you can actually do AI. People forget about you actually need to have your data structured in a certain way to actually make sense of any of it. But because we have done that refactoring and everything is modern on the architecture, we're able to overlay AI now to really start looking at past results and help guide our ad ops and optimization teams to basically get better performance out of campaigns, right? So through AI, you can just look at just so much data, vast amount of data, and really start making more, get more insights, identify patterns, and at the end of the day, deliver better campaigns. I think another piece that's important is personalization. So on the creative side, we talked about this before the show, but I saw an eMarketer report this morning. I think just about half of marketers use AI to generate videos now. So if you think about it, not only can you generate a video, but you might not only have an A and a B version, you might have 600 different versions of this creative that you can really start testing and figure out what works, and then use AI as well as the in-house team we have to optimize towards the creatives that's driving the best performance. I think the last piece is just efficiency and being more productive. One place that is super, super interesting where we're using AI is actually on the development side. So, we have a large dev and product team. And I just had a product summit last week, so this is the top of mind, so I remember this. But we are currently doing almost 30% of all the coding we do is done by AI. And I hope as we get to the end of the year, that can be at least double that, right? So what does that mean? It means we can have a lot more velocity on the coding side. We can spit out products faster. We can use AI to QA to make sure we get, better products in market faster. And at the end of the day, we're able to scale this company significantly faster without necessarily adding more headcount. And that part is really exciting. So all of that is really benefiting not just us as a company and our profitability, but also our customers, because we deliver better outcomes and we can do it for better value because we're able to push a lot of those savings onto our customers.
The way you gave that answer, and I don't know if you did this intentionally, can actually be a really great roadmap for companies that are right now thinking through, how do I leverage the benefits of AI in my department, in my business, to align to what you just said, those better outcomes. And you started with automation. And a mentor of mine is a co-author of a book called The Automation Mindset. His name's Scott Brinker. He's VP of Ecosystems at HubSpot. And one of the things that I really like about starting with automation and the mindset that we are truly trying to drive efficiency, we're trying to drive quality, that we're not automating because we want to get rid of jobs. We're automating because we have to keep pace and be better. And if we're not, then we'll go out of business. So when people start with first, where are those pain points? Where is that tedious work happening? It kind of breaks the hype of like, you need AI. I think too many people are falling into that trap of, you need AI. And I would say to the folks, getting rid of jobs sucks. Like people losing their job is the most terrible thing on the planet. I know, I hate it. But I'll never forget something my dad said to me when I was very young, and it has stuck with me my whole life. And I think at the time I was maybe like 12 or 13 and working at Dairy Queen. And he said, if you ever find yourself in a job where you are doing something that many other people can do just as good as you should be worried. And
Mhm.
I, if people haven't woken up to the fact that AI will replace you, they probably should. But if you are in that position, think about how can you be a part of the solution to automate away your job? Like, how can you be the one who leads automating the role you're currently doing?
Yeah, it's spot on. And the one thing I was thinking about too, back to my earlier example where we had those 50 and you no longer need 50, maybe 50 went to five, right? They're doing more QA work and those kind of things. At the same time, we created a ton of additional jobs, right? So I feel like AI is on two sides of it. Like, yes, there's a lot of things that just should be automated. We shouldn't be rekeying in stuff that's basically, data fields that are standardized. That should be easily automated. Whether you have an AI agent do it or just, pure automation, machine learning in the model, like that's pretty straightforward to do. At the same time, I feel like we're creating a lot of new jobs. We have an AI team here at Digital Remedy now that we never had, right? 6 months ago, we had none. Now we got four people on a team. And so we're basically waist deep in it to really understand what should we do next that will create the most value for our customers, right? And some of that, go hand in hand by creating more value for us, right? Because on the business operations, there might be, efficiencies that we get and cost savings that we get. At the same time, there might be other things that's more important to our customers. And having a team fully dedicated to this is, first of all, it's expensive, but it's a brand new team and jobs that we didn't have, 6 months ago.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. I'll lead the AI and innovation team here, and right now we have three or four open jobs because we can't get enough people who have the experience, not already have the automation mindset, but then have the technical expertise and the change leadership expertise to be able to identify the biggest challenges we're solving for our clients and what's the most efficient way to leverage the tools we have, data science, machine learning, that clients' own tech platforms to address that challenge in new ways, and then be a part of the change leadership that it takes to adopt and scale. And there's so many new, I would almost say like new job titles out there because whenever you create anything new, whenever anything new's been created in the past, it introduces change, which means it introduces new conflicts and problems that we never had before.
Absolutely. I think, the one disservice I feel like we're also doing is back to your, earlier point is there's a lot of hype, right? Everywhere you turn right now, everybody needs to put AI in front of what they do because, whether you're public or not, it really drives attention out of your whatever company you're starting or you've launched and people, I think they overemphasize the AI piece. And I feel like there is a lot of hot air and to some degree, smoke and mirrors out there too. And we constantly we don't try to build everything in house. We have obviously we utilize the models that are readily available and we train them on certain things that we think will be very important for our customers and ourselves. But when we're testing like optimization or ad ops agents, right? That we can overlay, we can put them into our DSP as an example. So, and we're a meta DSP. We sit on Amazon, Trade Desk, Yahoo, Xandr. We sit on a bunch because you need different platform for different inventory sometimes. But you have some of these new solutions that will really help you look at the data and drive outcomes. And as we testing a lot of these things, first of all, a lot of it is managed service where we don't really get to see that it's lacking transparency. And if you're not transparent, it's lacking trust. We don't really see everything that's going on with kind of the tech that gets overlaid. And two is a lot of times when we see what the benefits are and you're getting charged, say for us on a CPM or a cost per thousand, and you look at what the incremental ROAS was, a lot of times it doesn't even pay for itself. But I think what's kind of coming is these are going to be table stakes, whether you use us or others. Like you have to have these agents in there to really help drive those outcomes for you. I think I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the big DSPs will be coming out with agents that can basically work for you. They're going to charge for them. Nothing is going to be free out there, but I feel like this is going to be something that's table stakes. I just wish for the industry to be a little bit more honest and have a little bit less creativity in the product marketing department when they talk about AI to actually come out with real solutions and real products versus just AI X, Y, and Z kind of thing that doesn't really provide much benefit or value to our customers.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And that leads really nicely into the second thing that you said that everyone can do that helps with transparency, trust, building your own data stores. Because, like you said, AI is only as good as the data behind it. And there is not a business in the whole world, or hopefully not, that hasn't built its own expertise. It's now a matter of how have you captured your experience and expertise? Have you, something that we did, I mean, kind of late, but I think it was like 2013, 2014, it started adding like data layers underneath the platforms and services we provided just to track behaviors. So, and this is before AI took off. So, really, just to look for what are those patterns? How are people engaging? How does this inform any optimization of experiences moving forward? But a lot of people have their thought expertise in many different areas. And I don't know if people have taken that step back to say, what's the value of this and how does, again, aligning it to outcomes and quality for your clients, where can this benefit the people that you're serving today?
Yeah. I'm not sure exactly where the question was on that one, but I think, when we look at the trust piece and making sure that AI is not just, some kind of black box, because at the end of the day, it's going to hurt the adoption, right? And I think what we're trying to do with the AI piece that we do is, first of all, we're transparent about we're using it or not using it. So we're heavily using AI on the media planning side. We're using it in creative. We launched one that is readily available for all our customers, which is called Remy AI, which is, think about it as your, almost like a reporting agent. You can go in and ask a question tied to your campaign, but it says right there, hey, this is an AI agent, and it's only, you get smarter every day, but it's pretty darn well trained where you can go in and say, hey, based on the campaign I just ran this month versus last month, what do you recommend for, my renewal as an example? And it provides a lot of insights and transparency into how the campaign performed, but also give recommendations and insights into maybe what the customer should do next for the next campaign. And the way we're using that on our end too. So think about it if you're a director of sales at some local TV station, as an example, and say they're using us for all our programmatic fulfillment. And they might go in there and say, based on their role, they can look at all campaigns that they ran in a certain market. How many campaigns did I run in the Cleveland market this month versus last month? Okay, X amount. All right. How many of those campaigns churned? Can you please tell me a little bit more about the performance out of the campaigns that churn? What was the average order value out of those? And I think there's so many benefits out of basically, putting AI layers into or functionality into some of those instead of sending, and I get this on a daily basis. I get like our vertical specific performance. I can look at how many home improvement campaigns do we run today versus personal injury campaigns, and there are thousands a day. And instead of asking my data science team to provide all that and try to come up with some insights into it, you can basically start asking it right in the reporting UI. You can spit it out as a presentation, as a native PowerPoint or a Google slide. And look, it's not just getting you information, quickly. it just makes also us significantly easier to work with as a vendor versus what maybe they're used to from the past.
Yeah. And I'm guessing that the fact that this came from some of your own data, that it's, all secure, even though you're using it end to end, that goes a long way with people and the trust that they have in the work that you're producing from the planning stage through execution. How did that start? So I know for us, for other people I've talked to, it's easy to be transparent, like before an engagement begins. Like we're pitching you on our AI capabilities and services. So now I'm being transparent about how much we're using it, in what capacity, at
Mhm.
different steps. But what did that process look like for relationships and clients that you had before you started rolling out AI?
Yeah, look, we lead with it. It's a big piece of our platform. It's a big piece of our operation. It's not something we're hiding. I actually think overall it helps win business that we're leading into it. And we're not trying. And let's face it, if you use AI for creative as an example, especially video creative, it doesn't take a very well trained eye to see that this is there's AI basically at play, right? Some of them are almost like glorified PowerPoint presentation, how they move between scenes and slides, right? It's pretty easy to see. That said, if we're able to create a 30-second spot that they can be utilized, whether it's linear TV or connected TV, for an advertiser in minutes, instead of them engaging a creative agency and paying top dollar for something like this, and maybe have to wait weeks or months before they can go live. It's a great benefit. But to our sales team, it also helps because they can use it almost as sales enablement. Before you go into pitch, you can put in a quick URL, and it will basically find everything about that business and imagery from the website, quickly create a spot. And when you go into pitch, that can go along with it. Whether you use that or not, sometimes is irrelevant because they might have something significantly better. But it really helps us to kickstart the conversation with some of those customers. But I do believe creative. I'm not sure if you watched like VO3 from Google. Some of those, it was just a big seminar that I saw with VO on this, and the outputs on some of those videos are mind-boggling. If I was doing anything in Hollywood, I would definitely, lean in on this because it's going to change. Whether it's changing in the next year or two, who knows? But if you look at this 10 years from now, I think we're going to look back and say, oh my God, we made some huge leaps.
Yeah, I agree. I think what most excites me is, well, maybe because I am not like a designer or a writer at all. I mean, we have Cheryl, our producer, listening to this conversation, and she helps me so much in just doing anything, writing, editing posts. But ever since I now have an assistant that's elevating my skill up. And so when I see like that whenever I see any really Google demo or AI demo that is in an area that I am weaker, I think it's exciting to say, oh my gosh, I'm now going to be able to do this. Like I can draft, I can grab my inputs, I know how to script and story tell, but I don't know how to create a video that is actually visually appealing and connects directly to the benefit of the audience in front of me. And the better and better you get at prompt engineering in any of these platforms, combined with the quality of the data that you put in, you're going to get something pretty stinking amazing that on your
Yeah.
own you were never able to create before.
It's by the way, that's a great point. It's in the prompts, and I got four daughters, and the summer obviously, it's getting away from us with camps and all the other jazz and too much iPad and TV and all the things that comes with having too much idle time. But at the Kristiseter household, we 2 weeks ago we launched an AI course. So and it's not for the 3.5-year-old. It might be a little early, but for the 9 and the 11, they're going through a AI course now to basically learn and get exposed to this. And it has been so interesting to watch them, like even just using ChatGPT or Gemini or even Grok, which is amazing. You should try Grok if you haven't. Try the latest one. It's absolutely amazing. And now they're in there playing with it, and it's pretty cool to watch somebody brand new to it. Like one thing they were typing in, like they're doing a typical Google search. What about this? What about that? Getting an answer. But then we started like, all right, let's like one of the homework was to read a certain book, right, or multiple books. And we basically asked it like, hey, do a quick summary of this one book that's supposed to spend, 2 weeks out of the summer to read. And it spits it out spot on in basically seconds. Like you should see him. I'm not sure if that was a good thing or not, but it definitely opened up some eyes on the capabilities, and leaning into it. I think it's the only way for everybody at every level in the organization. You got to lean in on this to know what's shaking.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And that is a perfect place to start. Or not start, to stop. We are at time. Thank you so much for joining us, Martin. This has been a very insightful conversation. If the listeners want to find you and reach out to you directly, how can they do that?
Digitalremedy.com. And you can learn more about our products, and obviously if you need to hit me up, I am listed there, I believe, on a management page as well. So you can reach out to me directly on the website or LinkedIn.
Yeah, and we'll have a link to Digital Remedy on modapp.com where you can find all of the Leader Generation episodes or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks again for coming, and we'll have to do a follow-up to see where this all landed in a couple of years.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.